Hare Krishna. Thank you for joining this morning, Shrimad Bhagavatam Sangha and attentive chanting. So we'll make a start, and thank you all for joining. Let's continue. So we've been talking about Ajamil and how he had a narrow escape, but that was the power of the holy name that protected him. So we concluded that matter, and the Yamdutas weren't happy, and Yamraj was able to pacify them by his explanations. Now, we're talking about the Pracetās. They come in the lineage, I think, from Rishibadev. And now, Maharaj Parikshit is asking the question to Sukadeva Goswami. He says, "My dear Lord, the demigods, demons, human beings, nags, beasts, and birds were created during the reign of Swayambhuva Manu. You have spoken about this creation briefly in the third canto." So that was third canto was about the primary and secondary creation. Now I wish to know about it elaborately. I also wish to know about the potency of the Supreme Personality of Godhead by which he brought about the secondary creation. And then on the other side, Sutta Goswami is also explaining to the sages what he had heard from Maharaj Radha Sukadeva Goswami. After your great Yogi Sukadeva Goswami heard King Parikshit's inquiry, he praised it and thus replied. Okay. So Sutta Goswami is telling the sages about the reply. So there's two conversations going on, Sukadeva Goswami, Parikshit Maharaj, and then you got Sutta Goswami and the sages discussing the same thing. So let's pray first of all. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Mukham Kroti Vachalam Pangum Lang Yate Garim Yat Kirpataham Vandeshi Gurundin Taranam Pramnanda Madham Shitaneshram Naram Kritya Naram Cheva Narotvam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jamaduriyat Nastaprish Abhadureshu Nityam Bhagavat Sevya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Nestiki. So Shukdev Goswami said, now he's telling Maharaj Parikshit, when the 10 sons of Prachinabhari emerged from the waters, so he's now discussing Prachinabharis, the 10 of Prachinabhari, who went for austerity underwater for many years, in which they were performing austerities. They saw that the entire surface of the world was covered by trees. When King Prachinabhari was performing Vedic rituals in which the killing of animals was recommended, Narad Muni, out of compassion, advised him to stop. Prachinabhari understood Narad properly and then left the kingdom to perform austerities in the forest. So that was King Prachinabhari. Now his 10 sons, the Pracetās, however, were performing austerities within the water. So there's no king. All the sons are underwater and everything is out of control. And therefore, there was no king to see the management of the world. When the 10 sons, the Pracetās, came out of the water, they saw that the earth was overrun with trees. So this is crazy because now no king, no children to take over, and there's nobody else doing anything about it. They just let things run as they are. So Prabhupada mentioned that when the government neglects agriculture, which is necessary for the production of food, the land becomes covered with unnecessary trees. Of course, many trees are useful because they produce fruits and flowers, but many of the trees are unnecessary. They could be used as fuel and the land cleared and used for agriculture. When the government is negligent, less grain is produced. As stated in Bhagavad-Gita 1844, Krishi Go Raksha Vanijyam Vaishya Karma Sambhav Jam. The proper engagements for Vaishyas, according to their nature, are to farm and to protect cows. The duty of government and the Kshatriyas is to see that the members of the third class, the Vaishyas, who are neither Brahmins nor Kshatriyas, are thus properly engaged. The Kshatriyas are meant to protect human beings, whereas the Vaishyas are meant to protect useful animals, especially cows. So, similar tasks, but lower species. Because of having undergone long austerities in the water, the Pracetās were very angry at the trees, desiring to burn them to ashes. They generated wind and fire from their mouths. But why is it the fault of the trees? That's their job, isn't it? To grow. My dear King Parikshit, when Soma, the king of the trees and predominant deity of the moon, saw the fire and wind burning all the trees to ashes, he felt great sympathy because he is the maintainer of all herbs and trees. To appease the anger of the Pracetās, Soma spoke as follows: O greatly fortunate ones, you should not kill these poor trees by burning them to ashes. Your duty is to wish the citizens all prosperity and to act as their protectors. It is indicated herein that the government or king has a duty of protecting not only the human beings, but all other living entities, which includes animals, trees, and plants. No living entity should be killed unnecessarily. So all these, the trees and animals are also part of the kingdom. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, O Shri Hari, is the master of all living entities, including all the Prajapatis, such as Lord Brahma. Because he is the all-pervading and indestructible master, he has created all these trees and vegetables as eatables for other living entities. So everything is there for a reason. Soma, the predominating deity of the moon, reminded the Pracetās that this vegetation had been created by the Lord of Lords to provide food for everyone. If the Pracetās try to kill them off, their own subjects would also suffer, but trees are also required for food. By nature's arrangement, fruits and flowers are considered the food of insects and birds. Grass and other legless living entities are meant to be the food of four-legged animals like cows and buffalo. Animals that cannot use their front legs as hands are meant to be the food of animals like tigers, which have claws. And four-legged animals like deer and goats, as well as food grains, are meant to be the food of human beings. By nature's law, or the arrangement of Supreme Personality Godhead, one kind of living entity is eatable by other living entities. So that's the food chain, that's the law, that we're all eating some kind of living entity. Even fruits and vegetables, grains, they're all living entities. But to survive, that's what we have to do. But as Sri Prabhupada said, they eat lower conscious animals or items rather than the higher conscious, like the cows and horses, and don't eat them. As mentioned herein, Dvipadam cha Satuspada, the four-legged animals, Chatuspada, as well as food grains are eatables for human beings, Dvipadam. These four-legged animals are those such as deer and goats, not cows, which are meant to be protected. Generally, the men of the higher class of society, the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, and Vaishyas, do not eat meat. Sometimes Kshatriyas go to the forest to kill animals like deer because they have to learn the art of killing. And sometimes they eat the animals also. Shudras too eat animals such as goats. Cows, however, are never meant to be killed or eaten by any class of human beings. O pure-hearted ones, your father, Prachinabhari, and the Supreme Personality Godhead have ordered you to generate population. Well, they were asked to generate population, but they said, okay, we will generate population. They didn't refuse. They said, okay, but first we need to go and do some austerity. And I think it's like, if I remember correctly, it's like 10,000 years or something. They went to do austerity. And now they finished their austerity and they're back, and Soma is reminding them, that means, that shows that all the devtas, whatever, we're discussing or whatever been said, the devtas are watching, all around us, they're around us, they hear everything. that's been discussed. So Soma heard that conversation when their father told them to generate population. The path of goodness traversed by your father, grandfather, and great-grandfathers is that of maintaining the subjects, including the men, animals, and trees. That is the path you should follow. Unnecessary anger is contrary to our duty. Therefore, I request you to control your anger. As the father and mother are the friends and maintainers of their children, as the eyelid is the protector of the eye, as the husband is the maintainer and protector of a woman, as the householder is the maintainer of and protector of the beggars, and as the learned is the friend of the ignorant, so the king is a protector and giver of life to all his subjects. The trees are also subjects of the king, therefore they should be given protection. So Soma is reminding them about protection as our duty. By the supreme will of the personality of Godhead, there are various protectors and maintainers for helpless living entities. The trees are also considered prajas, subjects of the king, and therefore the duty of the monarch is to protect even the trees, not to speak of others. The king is duty bound to protect the living entity in his kingdom. That's why, otherwise, why would it be a king? That's why they need a king for protection. Thus, although the parents are directly responsible for the protection of and maintenance of the children, the duty of the king is to see that all parents do their duty properly. So it's important that any government or king do their duty properly, and they also make sure that the sub leaders are also doing their duty properly. Similarly, the king is also responsible for overseeing the other protectors mentioned in this verse. It may also be noted that the beggars who should be maintained by the householders are not professional beggars, but sannyasis and brahmanas, to whom the householders should supply food and clothing. It also may be noted that the beggars who should be maintained are not professional beggars. I'm glad they said that, because it's like when you're in India, you don't get a minute of peace when you're outside. From every direction they are pulling you, and you can't even think. You want to do some shopping or something, or you want to do something, some prayers. They just completely surround you, and they really impose themselves on you, and to find very creative ways of begging. So we're not talking about beggars here. We're talking about the sannyasis and the brahmanas who rely, that they give knowledge, and in return that they expect some maintenance as well. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is situated as the super soul within the cause of the hearts of all living entities, whether moving or non-moving, including men, birds, animals, trees, and indeed all living entities have a soul, and they have the super soul next to it. Therefore, you should consider everybody a resident or temple of the Lord, because the Lord resides in everyone. By such vision, you will satisfy the Lord. You should not angrily kill these living entities in the forms of trees. Yeah, the trees already got it hard anyway. We live for 80 to maybe 100 years max in this material world. But when you go to the park, our local park is 150 years anniversary. And you can see some of the trees are over, like 150 years old. So you think the trees, they have to live like that for many, many hundreds of years. They like, at least with the human being, we can do our business and get out by 80 to 100 years, whereas the trees, once you become a tree, you could be there for 100, 500 years, even 1,000 years. So it's, I think that they already got enough problems. But then you might think, well, then cutting them down is probably a good thing, but that is not, we cannot take responsibility for that. That's the responsibility of the Lord to decide. We can't decide for them. So it's a sinful action that One who inquires into self-realization and thus subdues his powerful anger, which awakens suddenly in the body as if falling from the sky, transcends the influence of the modes of material nature. There is no need to burn these poor trees any longer. Let whatever trees still remain be happy. Indeed, you should also be happy. Now, here is a beautiful, well-qualified girl named Marisha, who was raised by the trees as their daughter. You may accept this beautiful girl as your wife. So, Soma has described them with a wife. Sukadeva Goswami continued, my dear king, after thus pacifying the Pracetās, Soma, the king of the moon, gave them the beautiful girl born from Locha Apsara. The Pracetās all received from Locha's daughter, who had high, very beautiful hips, and married her according to the religious system. In the womb of the girl, Pracetās all begot a son named Dakṣa. This is the Dakṣa that we know, but this is the second birth, not the first Dakṣa who offended Shiva, who filled the three worlds with living entities. Dakṣa was first born during the reign of Sambhava Manu, but because of offending Lord Shiva, he was punished by having the head of a goat substituted for his own head. Thus insulted, he had to give up that body. And in the sixth Manvantra, called the Dakṣa Manvantra, he was born of the womb of Marisha as Dakṣa. So sometimes they show you differently in the TV, but here it says that once he got the head of a goat, he felt very insulted and gave up that body. He didn't want that body with the head of a goat. And then he was born in the sixth Manvantra. In this connection, Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur quotes this verse, Chakshushe tav antra prapte prak sarge kal vidrute yaha sas arj praja ishtha sadaksho deva choditha. His previous body had been destroyed, but he, the same Daksh, inspired by the supreme will, created all the desired living entities in the Chakshusha Manvantara. Thus, Daksha regained his previous opulence and again begot thousands and millions of children to fill the three worlds. So, Sukadeva Goswami continued, please hear from me with great attention how Prajapati Daksh, who was very affectionate to his daughters, created different types of living entities through his semen and through his mind. So a lot of children were just like Brahma, they were created through his mind as well. All the prajas were born from the daughters. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says that apparently Daksh had no son. Interesting. With his mind, Prajapati Daksh first created all kinds of demigods, demons, human beings, birds, beasts, aquatics, and so on. But when Prajapati Daksh saw that he was not properly generating all kinds of living entities, he approached a mountain near the Vindhya mountain range, and there he executed very difficult austerities. Near that mountain was a very holy place named Agamarshan. There Prajapati Daksh executed ritualistic ceremonies and satisfied the Supreme Personality of Godhead Hari by engaging in great austerities to please him. So the Lord empowers people to do different things. And so Pracetās were told by Soma to not to neglect their duty. They escaped their duty of what the father had asked them, and they went and did austerity for 10,000 years. And now they were again neglecting their duty when they came out by burning all the trees. So again, they were reminded. And then the story continued, and Daksh is born, and now Daksh has been given a duty of generating a population. So Krishna arranges, he empowers people to do different things. So thank you so much for joining. Ishani Mataji, Jai Prabhu, Praveen Mataji, and Pundrikaksh Prabhu. Thank you so much. And see what you can make of this empowerment. We'll start with Pundrikaksh Prabhu. Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Yeah. I mean, few things. First, I think they did tapasya. Can you hear me, Prabhuji?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah.
Okay. I mean, um, they did tapasya for 1,000 years under the water.
Was it 1,000 or 10,000?
Oh, sorry, 10,000, 10,000. Sorry, 10,000 years. And one point I like, Prabhuji, everything that is created in this world is for a reason, and we are not the proprietors to destroy anything. I think like when it comes to certain plants, so we really think that okay, this plant is of useless, but there might be some reason for the plant to be born as well. Like you see in Ayurveda, we come across so many plants which we never know. We think that it's of no use, but it is used there.
Mm.
So as we are not the proprietors, we don't know, should not own to kill them as well. And negligence is very tough thing, and it seems they are neglected. The plants grown like that. So I think for us, I think if we neglect chanting, then it is very easy for the anarthas to creep up, like the weeds. So no, never neglect your chanting and the basic process or the four liquidative principles. Um, Daksha is given a chance again, but again, I think we in the past time we can see Daksha getting angry again on Narad Muni at later stage. So Prabhupada, where it mentioned that even though he get a new birth, but still he continued the same mood, the anger mood. So here it also mentioned that control the anger, like um, Moon King was asking them, please control the anger. You should not be killing all the trees, because without the trees, how people can get the food, or even insects can have their food. So control your anger and don't kill the trees. There he was requesting them, and protection is a duty. So I was thinking, um, even my daughter, we should protect her. We should give her good knowledge. I mean, it's very easy to get distracted here. Already, my daughter started going to some place after the school, and she's coming very late nowadays. I'm already worried. So I need to protect her, giving this guidance. That's the only thing I felt. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Yes, nicely said. And you connected it nicely to your family. Yes, it's father's duty to protect the young daughter, and then husband, and then the son protects the females. And yeah, children, they follow their friends, and go to the. We see in the Warsaw town center as well. The kids at after school time. I think most of the school is in the shopping center. They're all running around with the friends, buying maybe sweets and things like that. It should be just innocent fun, but yeah, we still have to keep a lookout, of course. Yes, Radharani wants to say something.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, nice to have you back. Yes, when you said about the weeds and how we should also not just take them as for granted, because they also have purpose in our garden, in the ecosystem. Uh, Coincidentally, only yesterday I saw, as you see in this time of the year, lots of dandelions and yellow flowers, daisies growing in the driveway and on the footpaths. So I thought they look pretty. Why don't we offer them to Krishna as well, to our deities? So I plucked all of them yesterday and I offered them to the deities, and even if some nice leaves are there in the garden, I offered them also to the deities, thinking that this plant will get the mercy of Lord and will get automatically transferred into the next hierarchy of the
Chain.
of the chain of human system. Slowly they will go up to the human race this way. So yes, we have to have mercy for everyone, and uh, you're spot on. When we see the trees, if we have got somebody coming in our house to cut the trees, uh, we are always thinking, oh, there should be still enough foliage on that particular tree so that the birds can still come and make their nest in the spring, and we don't destroy their habitat because they are not going to find any accommodation like human beings here or there. This is the whole world, the whole trees and everything is their habitat. Similarly with the insects. And yes, we have to be protective of not just our own selfish needs. We have to look after. I think God has given us, when we say this is my house, this is my garden, this is my, the vicinity is all my property. Actually, God has given us the proprietorship, not proprietorship. We have to look after the other species dwelling in that area. And yes, of course, and it just mentions that how everybody has to be looked after by the householder in the house. And yes, a man has been given a bigger responsibility. So yes, and King Dakṣa, through King Dakṣa, I think this is Prajapati Dakṣa, we are given this lesson that how we should try to improve ourselves, especially our shortcomings, so that like him, we don't carry over the anger in the next life. At least if we have got the anger propensity bigger in our life, it is decreased at least by a good percentage in next life or in next consequent birth. Only that way we will progress in our journey towards Lord. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, Ishani Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Dhanvat Pranam, everyone. So very nice class, Prabhuji. Two things basically we came across today. First is about trees. We see that whatever is coming up in this world again, like save more trees, plant more trees, save trees, and all that. It's already been written. Whatever is like, except this as well. Whatever is coming up about the climate, about water, about the weather, everything. It's already mentioned in our Vedas, in our Granthas. And while talking about the trees, you told that trees are so old, as compared to the age of humans. I was reminded of a tree in Vrindavan. When we went to Vrindavan, we saw a tree that was a branch of the tree was down there, and our guide told us that when Krishna was here, Krishna climbed that tree on that branch, and from that branch he jumped into Yamuna to kill Kalia. So that was the tree, and that tree is so old. I mean, we can tell by looking at that tree. And looking at the tree, I was just thinking, what I mean, he was serving Krishna. He was there when Krishna was there. He definitely would have taken darshan of Gauranga Mahaprabhu as well, and so many sages came there, now also come there, and he's serving everyone. But what about this tree? Nobody thinks about this tree, and like what he has done, that he is still there. He's not gone to Golok yet. It's a it's very hard for that tree if we think about him as a soul. But then recently I was studying about Raganuga Bhakti, and that it was written that in Raganuga Bhakti, the devotees don't desire even to go to Golok. They see that how they can serve Krishna. So then I could relate that with the tree. And secondly, I was thinking about Dakṣa Prajapati. Recently, yesterday, I was listening to a lecture on the same topic. But in that, it was written, they told us that he was not embarrassed after he got. I know here it is written embarrassed after he got, the face of a goat. And it was written that he was humbled, rather. And it was written why he got the face of a goat was that the reason was that the sound which goat produces is like meh meh. Always, it's more about itself. It's more about the goat itself. So always thinking about the people who are always thinking about themselves, keep them in the priority. They indirectly it is been said that they have that mentality of a goat. So that's all I want to share, Prabhuji. Thank you, Haribol.
Very good, very nice realization, Mataji. Yeah, this about Daksh, I mean, like there was like Devokadev Mahadev. I mean, in the TV, they do twist things, that's for sure, you know, they will twist things. And I do remember that Daksh, you know, when he got the head of a goat, his like mentality completely changed. Now he was suddenly become a devotee, and that's how they showed it. But like there, he was like him against Shiva, and then he had become a devotee of Shiva. It's like that. But yeah, you know, it is what it is. And so you know, he became a goat. How long he stayed there as a goat, and obviously he couldn't. I guess he couldn't stay as a, you know, having a head of a goat for so long. It's, sooner or later, you know, he would have to give it up because you know, he can't continue like that. So yeah, so anyway, it's fine. But yeah, you're right, absolutely right about the trees, because we were in Kurukshetra and that tree is still there where Krishna spoke the Bhagavad-Gita. That tree also exists, and like you say, yeah, they're doing the service and they're happy. They're probably happy to do that service because so many people are coming to see them. You know, it increases their faith by seeing the trees. Yes, what was written is right here. Here's the evidence. So yeah, that's their service. Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Puri Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, not talking about those trees. So that the thing that came to my mind is like they say, love thrives things. So because they are loved, you know, the trees, everybody's coming. And like they say, speak to the plants and then they flourish more, give more fruit. So maybe that's another reason, you know, they're still, the trees are there because they're loved so much, everybody's glorifying them. And like from today's reading, it to my mind again, it is the protection only, you know. So Krishna, he has given us everything. He's the owner and proprietor, controller of everything, but it is our duty because he's given us everything to look after everything, to keep, you know, the ecosystem going well. So, but I always feel like in Dubai, they, like even in the sea, they're making houses, and I always say like they're playing with the nature. In India, they cut the mountains, and then we see devastations happen after some, you know, time after. So we just have to respect and use the things as they are. But then I remember when Mataji was saying, so I was picking mint, and then there was a weed, and I just pulled it and just threw it out. Probably it has got some purpose as well. So, but we do weeding. So, and it's our duty to protect like the elderly, women, children. So these are the duties Krishna has given us. Hare Krishna, Guruji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's interesting because then, like, when we have weeds coming out all over the place on your driveway, you know, you have to get rid of them as well. But you know, what do you do? I think like
Yeah, Prabhuji, one thing which comes in my mind after listening to this is, you know, everything has a purpose. Similarly, the weeds, if we say, it might have some purpose. Even the spiders, even the, you know, the insects, the reptiles, they have some purpose. But then, if we think our home to be the, you know, place of worship, then we have to take care of it as well as temples. We can't allow the spiders inside.
absolutely.
They have a purpose, yet we can't allow them inside. Prabhupada always said that, you know, keep the temples clean, keep our homes clean, because they are not ours, they are the worship place for Krishna. So thinking about both these things, like definitely they have some purpose, but then we have to be a bit, you know, you can say that we have to think practically as well. So thinking that in mind, you know, we have to get rid of them as well, some for, you know, for the good purpose.
Yeah, I mean, even with the animals, there's something called culling, isn't there? So if you get, you know, too many of the same animal, that, you know, they're everywhere, then they have to cull them or kill them to reduce the population as well. So yeah, I mean, like I say, you have to be practical at the same time. I mean, like with everything else, you don't overdo anything that, it destroys the system. But then there's also important to balance. And also, like the weeds in the house you mentioned, that sometimes you have to give up the lower principle for the higher principle. That is also important as well. Yes, Radharani.
Yes, far as the spiders and lizards and all them are concerned, they've got purpose in the ecosystem. You know, they kill the mosquitoes in your house. They get rid of all the small, bugs which are living inside the house sometimes. So what you do is what I personally do, if I find any, I just gently pick it up in a small tissue paper and just shoo it outside. So no need to kill them and no need to be
No.
scared of them. I've seen women, screaming, oh, what something happened. There's no need to. They're also living entities. Like the only thing is their bodies designed differently for their purpose, because they have got different purpose in life, in their life, and also the weeds. Like I was talking, the dandelion growing in the footpath and the driveways, that has got a medicinal. Most of the weeds have got medicinal purpose if you check the Ayurveda. So everything, some things which are useless to us, which will make us ill, but other birds and bees, they thrive on them. So nothing is wasteful in this material
No,
world.
nothing wasteful,
Nothing.
but everything has to be in a controlled environment. You can't let the weeds grow everywhere.
Cut the weeds, use the flowers to offer to Krishna. The wild flowers look so nice. Then cut the weeds and make the manure out of them. And then again, recycle it in the ecosystem.
Yeah, I wanted to share Nitya Sevni Mataji. She came from India with her husband last year, was it, at Rasika Prabhu's house? I was there. And then Mataji was telling about our house. And then Mataji said, okay, we haven't got much time, but I want to drive through and come to your house. And then I was very happy. And then I'm thinking quickly in my head, what am I going to offer Mataji? So luckily I knew I've got some nuts there. And then I'm thinking, I haven't even got any flowers. How am I going to welcome? Because the house wasn't ready. But I'm still thinking, because like, I'm so fortunate Mataji's coming. So looked in the garden, Prabhuji, there were like little purple flowers growing. So I quickly went and picked those. So when Mataji came, so I just put little flowers in, and it just made me so happy. And I thought, like, at least, I had some flowers. And so, yeah, that's the beauty of like, and we're talking about weeds and like nettles and all that. Although this thing, but you can make nettle tea and everything, and they are useful things. So it's just we need to know how to use them. But the weeds are only annoying when they grow in between the block paving. Then it is annoying.
It takes away the beauty of the house, and
But they-
plus they are relentless. The weeds will grow. Your tulsi or your other plants, you
They
try
will
to
not grow.
protect them. You spend so much time and effort to protect them, and they still, we still lose
Struggle
them.
to grow.
Whereas the weeds can grow anywhere without any problem. That they are very, very determined. The weeds.
So they teach us something.
And then, this is why they also mention the weeds, in our bhakti as well, that we don't even know when they might just shoot up. We're trying to grow our creeper of bhakti, and the weeds will come out, and we won't even notice them, until they raise their heads, and find the weeds are there. So we have to be very careful in our own lives to watch the weeds growing. Just have to pluck the weeds in our bhakti as well, because we don't realize it sometimes that the weeds are growing, but the weeds will take away the nourishment of your bhakti plant that we are growing. Because what the nourishment that should be going to your bhakti is taken away by the weeds. So yeah, so they have to be, everything is systematic, everything has its right place. So yeah, practical.
The birds and the wind will bring the weeds into our garden. The seeds will come without our knowing.
Without
Similarly,
asking.
the anarthas, like
It'll cost you a penny, right?
Exactly, like you said, the anarthas, the unwanted things, they will come either through bad association or through the slacking of our own mind.
Yeah.
So we have to be on guard all the time.
Yeah. So lessons to learn. Thank you so much. I'm just going to read the summary by Jai Prabhu. When the Pracetās, the 10 sons of Prachinabhari, emerged out of the sea after performing severe austerities, the entire surface of the world was covered by trees. The planet Earth has been neglected due to the absence of a king to oversee its management. So yeah, so everything has to be managed. This is the important thing. Everything has its place. So we don't ignore it, but we have to manage it. The Pracetās become very angry with the trees and were going to burn them all to ashes. But Soma, the deity of the moon, reminded them that they had a duty to protect them. No living entity should be killed unnecessarily. So, if you need to clean the pathways, that's fine. But you just no need to kill all the trees and plants. Just because you're angry. Trees and vegetables provide food for everyone. If the Pracetās killed them all, the citizen would also suffer. So this shows that they were overdoing this. They obviously got new powers, testing them out. Soma tells the Pracetās to control their anger. One who controls their anger as well as the enemies of life can transcend the influence of the modes of material nature. A pure devotee is never angry. He does things in a controlled way, obviously. Because when you're angry, you lose all sense of reality. The body of every living entity should be considered as a resident or a temple of the Lord. After pacifying them, Soma gave the Pracetās a beautiful girl named Marisha, who all 10 of them married. She had a son known as Prajapati Dakṣa. He created different types of living entities through his semen and through his mind. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you so much. So next time we'll be talking more about Dakṣa on next Friday. So we'll take it from there. Thank you so much. Let's do some serious rounds now. 2 rounds. Praveen Mataji and then Punyakaksh Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna.